Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to inspire a world where food makes us better. Guys, my name is Shurina. I'm a nutritionist, certified nutrition, health, productivity, weight loss, fat loss coach. I basically help people to use nutrition and all the related surrounding fields like your lifestyle, your healthy, sleep and movement habits. I help people to use nutrition as a tool to improve anything really about your health, your fitness, the way your brain works, your mental, your emotional health, because as I mentioned many times on this podcast, every single cell, everything we are, everything we feel, we think, it's built from the food we put on our plate. And then, of course, it is affected by other factors, but there is no way around it. We are what we eat, guys. So make sure to put something good on your plate today. Something with purpose. Guys, today I want to talk about purpose. Not the purpose of your life, but actually about the purpose of supplementation. I'm a huge fan of supplements, but not taking as many supplements as you possibly can be taking. Yesterday, with a new client of mine, we were going through our supplementation stack. The client has been taking supplements before we started working together, right? And so I was going through all the supplements and was looking at them and making sure that we are not taking too much of one thing, too little of another thing, that we are not taking a bunch of stuff just because, we can, that every single thing, every single supplement has a purpose. And more is not better, guys. A lot of people in healthy lifestyle, healthy eating movement, people think that, the more you take, the better. Like, people start taking mega doses of some multivitamins or some longevity supplements or anti-inflammatory and a lot of antioxidants. But more isn't better. Did you know that there were a few cases, I'm not sure how many exactly, but there were cases where people died because they were taking too many supplements, and those supplements didn't work well together, didn't work well for their health. There is such a thing. And when it comes to supplements, a lot of vitamins and minerals, many of them, they have either U curve in science. That means that too little is not going to do much, too much is equally bad or even worse. Like, for example, vitamin D. When we have enough of it, like, vitamin D is involved in so many processes in our body, right? But one of the roles that it has in our body is to make sure that calcium goes to the right places, to our bones and teeth, all the hard tissues that are supposed to have calcium. And so calcium doesn't go into our soft tissues, like, for example, forming gallbladder stones or calcifying our arteries and, again, other soft tissues. But when we get too much of vitamin D and it is not balanced with other fat-soluble vitamins, like, for example, vitamin A and vitamin K, and then also it is not balanced with calcium and phosphorus. When we, for example, take much more vitamin D than any of the other nutrients, vitamin D can do the opposite thing. Instead of putting calcium where it belongs, we're gonna start putting calcium into soft tissues, and again, like, forming kidney stones or gallbladder stones. Like, I had quite a few friends who had them, and that was probably, I don't know, fasting or something else. But to be honest, I always tell them that might be a lot of supplements that you are taking for no good reason. And with this new client, he's been taking a lot of supplements that have vitamin D. And at the end of the day, he ended up taking, I believe, about 800% of vitamin D. And plus the foods on top of that, right? 800% of vitamin D every single day really might be not a great idea. And it doesn't matter whether you live in a warm climate or in a cold and dark climate, right? Of course, if you live in somewhere like Mexico, where I am right now, by the beach in Playa del Carmen or Cancun or Tulum. If you live by the beach, you don't need to take vitamin D, and definitely not mega doses. And sometimes people say here, oh, vitamin D is so expensive here. Of course it is. You have sun, you don't need it. But here especially, right? I do take my multivitamin, but it does have the minimum amount of vitamin D. And I definitely not gonna add any other supplements that might have vitamin D. I specifically, when I order, for example, when I ordered my zinc supplement and calcium, I looked at the amounts and I made sure that there is no vitamin D because I don't need more of it. And there are quite a few other nutrients that have the same U curve. But then there are other nutrients that need to be balanced between each other. Like calcium needs to be balanced with phosphorus. So we have the right kind of bone density, that bones are strong but not brittle, so they're not easy to break. That actually can happen when we don't balance calcium and phosphorus. And you might ask, well, Angela, how do I know how to balance them? You're right, it's quite complicated, and unless you consult some nutrition professional, I would not recommend you to just prescribe yourself as many supplements as you think you need. The best way to balance nutrients is eat them in whole foods, because in whole foods, they are balanced. Of course, if you eat more or less balanced diet, that's why it's important to have different food groups, not just eat, yogurt every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Then you get a lot of some nutrients and not a lot of other nutrients. That's why it's important to have a balanced diet. And in whole foods, nutrients are balanced already. They are created in a way that works together in nature, and we are part of nature, right? So it works in our body. And plus, for the body, there is a lot of data that showed that for the body it is much easier to balance out nutrients that come from whole foods, not in supplements, meaning to remove certain nutrients, to store certain nutrients when we need to. So it is much easier to do than when in supplements. In fact, some nutrient toxicity, like for vitamin A, for example, it's been shown that vitamin A in big amounts is toxic, but it's only been shown with supplements, not with whole foods. And there is probably a reason for that. Again, it's much easier for the body to work with nutrients that come from food, not from supplements. And getting back to supplementation, more isn't better. Again, guys, unbalanced intake of different nutrients, especially from supplements, might be a really bad idea. You might disturb your hormonal balance, your mood, your brain chemistry, your gut health, your inflammation levels, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your blood glucose, and that can really backfire. You can even die. So it's not a joke, guys. So don't just take supplements because because it sounds fancy, because somebody else decided to take them. Don't just take mega doses of supplements for no good reason. I do recommend taking a multivitamin for most people, but a regular multivitamin, the one that is natural, that has, that covers a good portion of vitamins and minerals, but not mega doses of them. And then for each person, when I work with, for example, I recommend supplements with a specific person. I never say take this just because it's there. There is always a purpose. And before adding something in supplements, I always ask myself, and I talk to my clients, can we get this from food? Because again, food works much better in a human body. And so the lesson of today, the main lesson you want to take away and practice is supplementation. You need to supplement with a purpose, with a goal. You need to understand why you take this supplement and not another supplement. And you want to make sure that you're not taking too much. Like too little is fine, right? Hopefully you're eating a balanced diet and you're getting a lot of nutrients from that diet, but too little not going to harm you that much. Again, on top of balanced diet. But too much can really harm you. And you can feel worse, not better. So please do look at your supplements. Make sure that you're not taking, a lot of vitamin D or any other nutrient in a lot of different supplements. Also, timing matters, guys. It matters when you take your supplements. It matters in what combinations with what other foods or supplements. Like, for example, if you take iron with something that contains a lot of fiber, like beans, or nuts and seeds, or a lot of vegetables with different fibers, it can actually prevent you from absorbing iron, right? And there are so many specifics like this. So if you need advice, please reach out. There is a form in the show notes, link to this form. Send there your question, and I'll do my best to help you out. And then clean up your supplement stack. Make sure again that you're not taking things just because they sounded good. Make sure that every single thing has a purpose in your life. And then also, a bonus advice: don't forget to check all the ingredient lists on your supplements. There are cleaner and better supplements. Your protein shake doesn't need to have 40 ingredients. Your a calcium or amino acid or whatever other supplement you take, it doesn't need to have 20, 30, again 40 other ingredients. Try to be more minimalistic with your supplements, because we just don't know how all these things gonna interact together in your body. They can really produce some weird effects, and if you are experiencing already something weird, that supplements is a place to look at. So that's it for today, guys. Look at your supplements. Make sure each of them is on purpose with a goal. Make sure that you don't take mega doses of any nutrients, and then make sure that you take good quality supplements. If you need advice on either is that good quality supplement or should I look into something else, please reach out. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, via email, angela@createyourself.today. There is a link to the form in the show notes where you can submit your question. A lot of ways to reach out, so please do, because your health, your well-being, it's all worth it. It's your life, so live it as well as you possibly can. And guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And till next time, eat better daily.